We're at the Meta Games Star City Invitational. We just had a round 3 of each match between Jack Mitchell-Burns and Lee Parker. Lee Parker won. Just going to have a quick chat about the match with him. So guys, Jack, you were playing, what were you playing?
It was the 110 Angel combo deck.
Is that the one that plays mill cards and such things like chronic flooding?
Yeah, it's similar to the GP Japanese list that guy won with. You just get loads of guys in your bin, get them all back, and attempt to kill your opponent in one turn, basically.
Cool, that sounds pretty funky. What about you, Lee? What were you playing?
I was on the ever imaginative Jund deck today, so it's doing well so far for me though.
So, Jund, red, green, black?
Yeah.
People know it from its modern roots and like old standard. What's in it in standard nowadays?
Oh, definitely. It's still very much a very fair deck. A bit of removal, fair creatures like Olivia, Huntmaster of the Fells, all that type of stuff, and then some slightly more unfair stuff like Bonfire of the Damned.
So you won the match in 2-0. How do you think that's indicative of how the matchup would usually play out?
Definitely not. I usually really struggle against the Human Reanimator deck. I think it took a lot of bad luck on Jack's part and a lot of good luck on my part, so I'm pretty grateful for that.
Well, that's why we play Magic instead of chess, that luck factor, isn't it? Jack, would you say 2-0 is a fair result for the matchup, or would you expect to do better usually?
I mean, slot games is a beat-in, but my plan isn't always to go for the mill package next game, so it's probably slightly in their favour, I imagine. If they draw slot games, it's obviously vastly in their favour, but if they don't, I feel like I can squeak out that match quite easily.
So Slaughter Games is the 2 red-black sorcery,
Yeah, they're
can't be
pretty
countered.
abstraction, basically, that can't be countered, yeah.
So does he take your angels out of your deck to stop your reanimation package?
Usually you take the angels because he was running Death Right, so Unburial isn't like the hardest thing in the world to get rid of. So yeah, they bring in stuff like Rakdos Charm as well, which is fine because I bring in stuff like the spell. But yeah, Slaughter Games is the big daddy in that matchup.
So was Slaughter Games in your open hand and that was the reason for the keeping game too, or was it just standard value hand?
I unfortunately ripped it. I mean, I think you need to have at least some hate in your hand, so I had the Death Right Shaman in the opening hand, and my plan was pretty much if I couldn't get the hate to try and race him, so I was happy to see the Farseek, the Death Right Shaman, and Olivia and Huntmaster, and I think Olivia is very good in the matchup as well.
So the Slaughter Games essentially turned him into a value deck, and would you say that Jun was a better Ferg deck than the deck that Jack was playing without his combo?
Oh, definitely, and I think as well not seeing the stuff to start getting value such as Unburial Rights when you fill in your graveyard helped with it as well.
So when I was watching game 1, I saw a very interesting play where you had Jack attacked with his guys, his 2 spirits, and you blocked with Olivia. Now Olivia's ability that's 1 and a red, deal 1 damage to target creature, and it gets a +1/+1 counter. Now, you decided not to use that at a turn. Was there any reason for that?
The 2 Staticaster, I had 2 mana up. I was looking at a field where I probably could dominate the air if I could just keep his flyers out. So as soon as he put the spirits, I was happy to take one of those out of the way. If I'd gone to ping, he would have double Staticaster me. So I thought I'd give him the respect of being a good enough player to know that and just shit the turn.
Excellent. Were you hoping he tried to ping then? I assume you were.
I gave him enough respect to make the play, but at the same time, it's like you can't not make that play. My spirits aren't going to do anything, so you've got to hope your opponent doesn't see it. But yeah, I was hoping he would try and outstack me, but obviously he physically can't do it. So.
Yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up for the people watching because it might not have been completely obvious.
Yeah, it might have seemed like I just punted and passed, but there's no way I could have outstacked him really if he was on the ball, which he was.
So what do you guys think about the tournament in general, with Meta Games getting in touch with the SCG and bringing it over here, so you've got access to it? Do you think it's a good idea in total?
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's no such thing as too many good big tournaments. I mean, we don't get as much chance, particularly as our American friends, to just get the experience of running through like long tournaments. I mean, particularly 8-round tournaments by usually round 6, round 7. If you're not used to them, you start flagging. You need to get that experience to be able to compete on the world stage.
Is that because the average PTQ is 4 to 5 rounds? Is that what you feel?
They have been before. We started to see 7-8 round PTQs now, just with the attendance and the popularity of the game. So it's definitely more chance of getting out practice, and it shows the markets there as well for something like this. I mean, 170 players today, is that bigger than any UK PTQ? Have we had 1 or 2?
It's got to be, surely. I think I've been to one that was about 150, 160. So yeah, it's definitely one of the biggest I've been to.
Is it refreshing to pay for cash prizes as opposed to products?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think it's more incentive for possibly a different type of player, but it's nice, particularly once you start playing at a higher level, you tend to have the card, so you tend to want whatever incentive going. I mean, people turn up for a PTQ just for the blue envelope. The fact that 4 people here will get an invite and some cash in their pocket is just fantastic.
What about you, Jack? What's your opinion on it?
No, yeah, I do agree. I think like we've been talking about like at the SCG scene for months now, saying it would be amazing if it was here. Obviously, like you said, we're not as big as the US, but tournaments like this every week would be fantastic, and I think it does incite. I think the reason why it's so big is it does kind of incentivize a lot of people to come who might not usually play, like you say, who like are not too fussed about playing the Pro Tour. They might have a busy career or family life, but the cash prize is kind of like, bing, well, let's go kind of thing.
So what do you think to Doncaster as a location then, and where would you in future like to see if there was more of these tournaments, or would you like them to be run?
Everywhere, like anywhere that can support upwards of 200 players, that's fine. I mean, this has been great. The venue seems great. City centre. I think that's the key. It's just city centres and enough space. I think that's the key point there.
What about you, Lee?
Yeah, I mean, Doncaster's a reasonable venue. It's right in the middle of the UK, just about. Traditionally, the UK tends to struggle for people travelling because of such public transport. I think if people are willing to travel to here and you get 170 people today, being able to put on more events, put one down south, one up north, one in the middle, and just keep building it out, I think people will come.
So how often would you say it was a good idea to run these tournaments then, if you were personally involved, kind of thing?
I mean, me personally, because I want to get to the kind of grinder stage, I'd go every weekend.
So you're saying every weekend?
If it's feasible logistically, yeah, I'd do it every weekend.
Well, you, Lee, would you do that?
For me, I actually have a career which I'm quite dedicated to, but if these were monthly, I think it's the type of where I'd definitely be taking time off and probably prioritising both PTQs at the moment.
So you'd make the time to go to them then, that's what you're saying?
Definitely.
Well, thank you for coming and having a nice chat with me today, guys, and best of luck for the rest of your tournaments. Hopefully, Jack, you can win out. You got maybe one more life. Lee, you're rocking it pretty for the top 8 if you keep winning.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers.